Hello and welcome everyone to what is the part 2 of this great episode where we are speaking to Mr. Sandeep Alur from Microsoft Technology Center. So the next question there is, Sandeep, that what would be your advice? I mean, how will it differ to somebody who's a newcomer in this field and just starting their journey against, let's say, a mid-career professional who's in some other discipline? Let's say they're in information security or pure infrastructure, right? And they want to just change their stream and get into the arena of data science and analytics. How would you advise these two differentiate?
In fact, I get this question a lot when I meet my customers, when I present outside, etc. In fact, for a newcomer, this is my guidance. They have nothing on the table that would unlearn. That's number one. Because they're starting their career and they probably will bring in utmost clarity in terms of what they want to do, right? In fact, my guidance for newcomer is work towards establishing specialization right from day one than working towards being a generalist, right? On the contrary, Ranajai, if you look at a mid-career professional, right, they have traveled a distance, they have experience, I would say technology experience or domain experience. Right? You may be a domain specialist in retail or a programmer, full stack programmer in working for a services firm, doesn't matter, but they've traveled a distance. If they're making a shift in their career, then they have a baggage with them, which is good because the experience will come in handy for data science, because I'll tell you, for data science, it's not about technology alone. It is mathematics, technology and domain. And each of us will
multidisciplinary.
Absolutely. Each of us will gather domain as we go along, right? So for a mid-career professional, there are a lot of pluses in terms of they bring to the table experience in domain, but it's a shift for sure. They have to unlearn a lot of things, right? Number one. Number two, it is difficult in my view to carve out specialization as they go along, because the experience they have will right off the bat make them operate like a generalist, right? It will take slightly longer time to establish specialization, whereas somebody who's just joined in an industry with academic, I would say, learning, which happened probably the previous month or year, their appetite to go deeper is a lot higher, right? But yes, for experienced specialists like us who wants to get into this field, a lot of patience is essential, right? I mean, that would probably make us learn more and stay relevant. But for somebody who's started, I would say one word: operate a learner mindset. I think somebody who's starting afresh, wearing a learner mindset hat and thinking the learning never ends is essential.
Let's come to the next one. I think most of the people will be interested in this part, that you must be hiring for your team, right? And you look for new talents, or let's say, both of these areas, which is newcomers as well as these experienced professionals. What are the aspects that you look for when you're hiring a new person in your team?
Yeah, in fact, many times we say this, we're not, what we're hiring is not a role, it's a responsibility, right? And hence, what a person look for is their personality. It's not just about skills. Technology skills can be acquired over a period of time. And because of so much information all around us, it happens overnight. We can learn a technique and tomorrow morning you can present at a conference saying, this is what it is. It's very much possible. But in my view, it's a personality that I look at in individuals. When I say personality, it's about one's persona in terms of how they present themselves beyond technical skills. I can speak from a technical architect who works in Microsoft Technology Center, right? What we do, if you look at the daily life of a technology architect there, we engage C-level, we engage mid-manager level, we engage developers, and we engage students, right? As a one of the entities. Now, for a person to hold conversation with lineup of such individuals, personas, it's not easy unless you bring in your persona to the table, not just technology skills. So I would look at personality. And I say personality there's multifaceted to it, right? It can be a social persona. For example, you mentioned Kaggle earlier. Now, if you are in analytics field, the best way to sustain learning is to play with data sets. Now, what have you done to foster learning, and how have you played on with data sets all around the world that's available? A few examples you can quote, right? I mean, that speaks volume of how they invest their time in fostering learning there, right? Or what are your thoughts on emerging tech? Do you have a perspective? It is not somebody like a Microsoft coming and saying, you know what, this is what we see as a trend for the next 10 years. But what do you think about it? So my point is, when I say personality, my question is, what do you think about this technique or technology which everybody's talking about? What is your own perspective? I think that's when I say personality, that's what I want to test. That's what I look for in individuals. Yeah.
Excellent. So till now we have been talking about what are the good things to do. Let's turn the table a little bit. So can you tell us what are the things to avoid when somebody is wanting to start their journey in this arena?
Okay. So I mentioned this earlier, right? Looking at building specialist knowledge has to come in early in the cycle. You get to meet a lot of generalists in the industry, right? And generalist knowledge can take you a distance. Generalist knowledge will not help you run a marathon, right? Generalist knowledge will probably help you do a short sprint, right? If you are running a 100-meter race, yes, generalist knowledge you can complete that. But if you're in for a long haul, if you want to run a marathon, I think establishing specialist knowledge from day one is super essential. And again, you spoil for choice these days, Ranajay, right? If you look at the technology spectrum, which way should I go is a big question everybody asks. But I think again, it's intuition driven. Now, if you choose an area, go deep and get industry accreditation, self validation time to time, and also if you want to call yourself specialist, I think you have to invest time. Invest in learning is a must for everyone, and each of us need to have a lot of patience, because today what you learn gets outdated overnight. What next? Never stops. So I would say, if you want to solve, okay, let's talk about AI and ML itself as an area. If you want to, technology evolve to a greater extent. For somebody who wants to start a journey, if they want to solve some of the most profound problems in the society, generalist knowledge will not help them be a participant there. You have to be a specialist to literally do something, right? And take computer vision. Look at the possibilities today, Ranajay. Because of COVID-19, we're talking about social distancing. Can computer vision play a critical role? Absolutely yes. Does generalist knowledge help you solve some of the problems? No, it doesn't. You have to be a specialist to literally go and build models. I'm talking about building custom models, which will help people address some of the issues that are dominantly can be solved by computer vision, as an example, right? So I would say invest in learning, invest in building specialist knowledge would be my mantra for anybody who's starting the journey in this field.
Great. So thanks for being so patient and answering all the questions, Sandeep. But we are almost at the end of our short interview. Do you have any parting comments or message for the new aspirants?
I think I would probably, again, this can be a summary from my end, Ranajay. I would say, number one, for anybody who's starting their career or somewhere halfway they're switching their careers, I would say three things, which probably is essential to survive for the next, I would say, 5 to 6 years or so. One is invest in learning, a must, and one need to have patience on this trail, right? You get a lot of distractions, but keeping your, I would say blinders on and learning essential. Second, practice, right? You brought in Kaggle. I would vouch for the fact that the best way to stay relevant, updated, as well as as well as contribute to some of the problems that we want to solve from a technical standpoint, you got to be practicing. Practicing every single day is essential. You have to be hands-on, right? Number three, in my view, this is a foundation for one's existence and also recall value that each of us need to establish is build your persona. I'm not saying build a social persona to just boast about what you've done. No, build a persona to share your knowledge, right? Number 1 and 2 is basically invest in learning, practice. But when you learn and practice, you have so much to offer, and hence you have to. That's the best way to build a persona by knowledge, and knowledge will create recall value. I think that would be my parting statement, Ranajay.
Great. Thanks a lot once again, Sandeep, for sharing your thoughts. I think the the newcomers will be hugely benefited through whatever you shared today. So thanks once again for doing this.
Perfect. Yeah, I loved talking to you this afternoon, and thanks for having me. Pleasure was mine.
Sure. Thank you.
Take care.
So that brings us to the conclusion of the part 2 of this episode. I hope you all liked watching this. If this is useful towards your data science journey, then please go ahead, like this, share this with your friends and colleagues, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. This helps and motivates us to bring in more useful and helpful content for you in our future episodes. Thank you very much. Keep watching.